from one of the greatest albums of all time, not only hip-hop or a female hip-hop artist, just legitimately one of the greatest albums of all time, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. That was Lost Ones. Then into Three Stacks, a.k.a. Andre 3000, and Daddy Fat Sacks, a.k.a. Big Boy. That's Outkast with Spodie, Opie, Dopalicious. And then we naturally found our way to 7-piece Kiwi outfit, Fat Freddy's Drop. From the album Blackbird, that was the title track, Blackbird. You've got a story about Outkast?
I do, yeah. I think Outkast for me was really, taking hip hop to another level. I've been heavily influenced by all the gangster rap stuff, in my late high school years. But I think that album, I couldn't stop listening to it, and it just did things to me that, it did things to a lot of people. I think there's 3 number ones off it. The concept of just having a double album. I think Beatles did it. There's over the years there's heaps of artists that have done a double album, but that was just for me. I'd never experienced it, so I think that was for me was huge. I mean, it won hip hop album of the year, won album of the year. I mean, it's Outkast's last album. They obviously they released something I think 6 years later, which was a scored or something, but it wasn't their album. So this just means the world. I mean, there's a track called Ghetto Music on it, which we're not playing, which people should listen to.
We'll add it to the back for those at home.
Right it's just at the end. And Andre 3000 is, I think, the coolest MF on the planet. Up there list. I'm sure there's not the coolest, but he's definitely up there. And his influences, obviously marrying Erykah Badu, who should have her own hour or 2 hours. I don't reference any of her tracks, but she's the queen,
She's got, honestly.
So him being influenced by her, and this album where they completely separate. So I think the story behind it was they wanted to do their own solo projects, but the record label wouldn't let them, and said, "Why don't you just put them together?" And so they put the 2 albums together. So I think that's the idea wasn't there to actually let's do a double album. You do your shit, I do my shit. It was like, nah, we're done here. But let's do our own shit. And the record album was like, well, nah, you're probably contracted for X amount more albums. You've got to be an Outkast thing. You're not solo. However that conversation went, came out and just took the world by storm.
The cover is legitimately 2 covers pasted together. They use the same font, but they're just 2 separate photos of them, and it's truly amazing, eh?
Yeah.
So getting back into your DJ life and touring, lost a bit of money on a kids festival, so you dive into DJing. What's the sort of next steps there?
Oh, I mean, it was just DJing hard, really. I think production was one where I started. You had to, if you wanted to get anywhere as a DJ, you got to be producing. So I wasn't that talented with the computer, so I was like, cool, who can I partner with that's kind of really good at what they're doing, and we can do some stuff together. So I kind of went down that path and started co-producing, or ghost producing, with some really talented dude who's around now, lives in Berlin. He's a great underground artist, and giving you a shout out. Mick Newman is his name, but Fantastic Man is his front. And if anyone is listening to some cool stuff for the Fantastic Man, check that out. He's got a really cool record label too. Going down the production path is really how it goes. But I guess from my perspective is that I got a bit of a profile, and then did this One Love CD, which is a compilation, which is an Australia-wide compilation. Ministry of Sound, One Love. That's how I kind of went at that time, and that's what got me going. And basically, I was traveling every week, touring, and basically took the fun out of DJing, because all of a sudden I was playing, to big rooms, to expectations of promoters paying money for me to be there and making sure people are having a good time. So it wasn't just about what I wanted to play,
which was being creative, taking people on a journey, you said earlier.
And not playing as big room stuff. When
you say big room, you mean
I'd say commercial
sounds?
and big sound, and
Gotcha.
I'd say less. I'd love to be playing disco and house and deep house and techno, around those forms. But, you're playing big room electro and big room house stuff, because, you're playing in Freo at Metropolis. I'd be 2,000 person room. I can't just be playing fucking stuff that I want to really play, because the floor won't move, So I think that's how I kind of got disinterested, and then got, into running festivals and being involved with and curating stuff that I wanted. And what I thought was cool and upfront that people would get into, which they did. It was cool.
And have you got some tunes to take us sort of back to that time? Like I've got your your playlist here, man.
I think I've got
and I want to know. I want to hear some context.
I mean, I think I've got one called I'll say The Prodigy. You know, I'm not going to say that the name of the name of the track, but it's controversial.
You're okay. You can say the name of the track.
Well, yeah, it's called Smack Me Up. And,
Smack My Bitch Up by The Prodigy.
And I mean, it's it's unfortunate about the name, but everything else about the track is just, it's iconic. And I mean, talking about The Prodigy as a band, they're iconic. I mean, I think Smack My Bitch Up, I say pitch, is top 3 greatest dance tracks ever. I think Mixmag, I think it's number 2, or I can't remember, but I remember seeing it as like top 5 best dance tracks ever. So like it just tells you like what a great piece of art it is. And The Prodigy are just like the greatest electronic band, And I say that because we toured them for Future Music Festival, and I was a stage manager for their stage. So from an artist perspective, we'd always look after the artists that we'd bring down in our festival. These festivals are large operations. You need to have a personal relationship with the artist. And if he's playing at an external stage or further down the line, we always had someone representing, the business there, and that was my stage. So I think it was the Warriors Dance they had their own festival in the UK called Warriors Dance, and they had a Warriors Dance tent at Future Music Festival. So we had the largest tent there. I think it was a 4,000 person tent. It was the largest tent you could hire, and they performed on that closing set every night of the festivals. And so I saw the energy, that they brought, and I'd seen bands and DJs giving, bring energy to all different environments, but this is by far the most energy I've ever seen. And one crazy thing about it was that on their rider, they had a side of stage small 3x3 pop-up tent with CO2 in it, with oxygen. So they used to go and pump themselves with oxygen prior to the show. So they'll be in there for 5 minutes prior to the show, get all this oxygen, be as hyped up as possible, and then go on and just like rip the roof off it.
Really?
Yeah. I've
That
never
is
seen anything like it.
amazing.
Like it's on a rider. I've seen all sorts of requests for riders, but this was side of stage. We won't need oxygen, and they just sit there and they'll suck in all this oxygen and pump themselves up and get out there and just like I said, blow the roof off. So that was a pretty cool thing to see. And talk about, really, yeah.
Mate, can you take us there?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Released on XL Recordings, this is The Prodigy, Smack My Bitch Up.